Here, ATP World Tour semifinal, and he's the youngest, well, actually, first teenager to reach the semifinals here since Andy Murray in 2007, when he went on to win the tournament. All right, questions for Ryan?
So you're happy? A little up and down, but managed to get out of it at the end there, huh?
I'm definitely happy. I started out really well. I guess whenever you want to set back comfortably, it's only going to get better for him in the second set. And you know, I played a loose game to get broken at 0-1 in the second set, but after that, you know, I was pretty much in control. Even though the score was tight, I broke right back, and then I held comfortable for pretty much every single time from there on out. It faced me break points, and I had break point opportunities at 2-all, and I was in the 3-all service game, and then finally got the break at 4-all. So it was pretty comfortable, and you know, obviously it could have gone either way there at the end, but I was excited to get through.
So how often you played guys who hit two hands off both sides?
Not very often. It's kind of rare because it kind of limits you reach-wise, and so you know, he started playing very much up in the court, trying to take away that, I guess, reach problem that he had in the first set. I was getting him moving, and I was in control. But you know, like I said, whenever you get blown out in a set against anybody, the guy's back's against the wall. You know, it's not going to get worse for him at that point, so he's going to start swinging, and that's what happens. You know, but as with most guys, whenever you get in the latter stages of sets, whenever you start swinging, you know, you're not really as free as you were at 0-1 or 1-all or early in the set. You know, it starts getting later, and you saw a couple of errors creep back in.
So you were talking the other day about not getting too upset this year, and a couple times after you were a little bit upset, but then you kind of pulled it back in and contained yourself, which I guess is a positive. Right?
Well, absolutely. You know, I mean, I didn't not getting upset and not showing any emotion are two different things. You know, I think that I'm an emotional person, and I always have been, and so you know, whenever you see me grip my face or roll my eyes occasionally or do something like that, you know, that's kind of like my way of saying, okay, let it go, let's move on. But no racket throws, no profanity, nothing to do with embarrassing myself or getting any fines or anything like that. So I feel like that's a step in the right direction for me, and you know, hopefully I get to a point where I can cut out everything in general, be Federer-like, but that's very tough.
So you played Milos 3 times in juniors, and then once in Indian Wells last year, which you squeaked out. Just talk about that, because you know, obviously you know him well. You guys are right around the same age, and kind of came up at the same time too.
You know, like you said, I know him very well. He's a couple years older than I am, but we played juniors at the same time because he was playing a little later than I was, and you know, he's obviously in the last 2 years, his game has kind of clicked. He's really come around. He's always had a huge serve, but he's really honed it in. And not only does he serve fast, but he has a high percentage, and you know, he's a very tough guy to break. And whenever you serve like that, it frees up the rest of your game, and so he's allowed to you know, go for a little more off the ground and take some more risk. But either way, no matter who I play, it's going to be a tough match. Both guys serve really big, and you know, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm excited. So just I'm going to go out there and I'm going to bring my A game. And hopefully, gets the job done.
So do you remember the semi-raucous or exciting atmosphere at Indian Wells last year when you guys played? The match was pretty hyped up, and he was red hot coming in there, and obviously, you know, you're in name too.
Well, that was a big match for me just because I knew him from juniors, and he'd obviously just made 16 Australia. He won here. He finaled Memphis, and then we were playing in the latter stages of this Masters Series event, which was obviously a big match, and it was to play Federer in the next round. So I mean, there's a lot of variables in that match that made it very interesting and very dramatic. And I remember just about every single point. To be honest with you, it was a very tough match, and you know, I was extremely thrilled to get through that one. And just like if I have to play tomorrow, it's going to be an emotional one. And the only difference being is this one's indoors, and so it obviously favors big servers, which he's a big server, but my server can be an advantage too. So I feel like it helps both of us, and so you know, we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to even if I play Kevin or if I play Milos. I mean, Kevin's no walkover. I mean, he's gonna be a very tough out for Milos today, and if I have to play Kevin, he's gonna be a very tough out for me.
So when you're playing the big servers and you face them up, especially indoors, or you play other guys that serves you, what's important for you? Just to focus on the return point to point, not get upset if they're booming the aces and service winners.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to make sure first of all, you take care of your service games because you don't want to get behind the 8 ball and get down an early break or something. and then, like you said, you just stay very, very calm and focused on the task at hand, because you know they're going to hit aces, you know they're going to come up big serves. There's going to be times when you get up 12:30, 15:30, and they go ace service winner, and you just put your head down, you walk to the other side, and you wait for your opportunities, and whenever you get your opportunities, you try to execute. You don't get scared of the opportunity, and you go for it. And that's exactly what I plan on doing, and hopefully I can do that.
How are you feeling physically now, playing consecutive days and traveling all the way halfway around the world?
I'm feeling, actually today was probably the best I've felt from a physical standpoint. Yesterday was tough. It was late. I've been going to bed at like 8 and waking up at like 5:30 or 6. So to have a night match yesterday, I started the third set by getting a Pepsi from my trainer because I was about to fall asleep out there. I was so tired. And so, I got some Pepsi and I started drinking it. It kind of gave me a little bit of extra life to get back, focused in. And I was able to get through, and I saved a couple match points, and then to get out there today and have a match that lasted about an hour, it was obviously a very good thing for me.
Nice to have that earlier afternoon match too, right? After the night match?
Absolutely. I'm going to get a real dinner tonight.
Well, you've got a nice product tie in there now with Pepsi after that one. Will you prepare any differently for your match tomorrow, dependent on who your opponent's going to be?
No, I'm going to try to do things my way. That's part of being a good player and trying to become a great player. Everyone that has ever become a great player, Nadal prepares every single match the exact same way, just like Federer does, and he's going to do things on his terms, and that's what I'm trying to build for myself, is my comfort zone and my rhythm, and I'm going to try to stay in that.
Do you see similarities in their games that you think you won't have to change much?
They play pretty similar. They both serve huge. They both go for a lot off the ground because they can afford to.
Long legs.
And they've got very, very long reach, long arms, and it's going to be tough either way. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
So you clearly get real fired up for big matches like Murray at the Australia this year, or Federer last year at Indian Wells. Do you ever feel a little bit more trouble getting pumped up for a match like this, where you're a heavy favorite coming in against the qualifier, and you can't expect the same kind of atmosphere?
Well, today I came out there very, very, very well. I was in a very good rhythm, and I was pumped up. I was excited, and I wasn't as outwardly emotional, just because whenever you're up 4-1, 5-1 in sets, it's kind of like they always say, let a sleeping dog lie. You don't want to piss a guy off into playing better. And obviously, he started playing better, but I didn't try to do anything that was going to give him some extra incentive. So, I just tried to stay about my business and stay on top of him. And then obviously, things kind of turned around. He got some rhythm, but I did let out some come-ons and some positive emotion in the second set whenever I broke back, and then trying to. I think there was one service game and I was down left 30, and I had some big serves, and I got back on top. And after that, I started sinking into a rhythm and started getting back to my game plan, and then I was able to get through.
I noticed you seem to be using the same, I guess I would call it a breathing technique when you hit your strokes that I've noticed Roddick uses as well. The heavy exhale right before contact. Is that done on purpose? I wondered if instead of grunting, you get...
My dad, when I was younger, my dad used to always think that grunting was a form of attention, and so he would always tell me that just exhale, and that's what you have to do. But it's not been anything that I ever practiced. I guess that's the way it goes, and that's the way I do it. I'll trust you on that one.
I wasn't sure if it was a conscious technique. I'm close enough I can actually hear it.
The only thing that's conscious is after long points is trying to slow your heart rate down, and that's the only thing with my breathing that I'll try to do. And if I have a longer point, or if I'm a little nervous, I'll go to my towel and try to, sometimes I'll close my eyes and just let the situation sink in and get back in my rhythm. But as far as during the points, at that point, everything's reaction. You're not thinking about anything. It's just technique and everything that you've already practiced.
Well, forget I said anything then, so you don't get distracted. I just
good.
thought perhaps it was
No,
an actual technique.
No, we're
Okay.
all good.
Ryan, voluntari's enough working out. What percentage of the kids are grunting?
A lot more than they need to be.
Really?
You got a 7-year-old girl that's screaming louder than I could get in my entire life. I think that's not exactly necessary. But, I guess I can't really comment on that. I mean, I think that if you make some sort of noise, some sort of exhaling noise, that's fine. But whenever you hear like a loud scream, don't necessarily know that that's necessary at all times for everyone. And there's actually some pros on the women's side that they can't stop because they're so used to doing it. They've been doing it for so long that if you tell them to stop, it starts messing with their game. And so at that point, they've already gotten in their rhythm, and that's their comfort. So you can't tell someone like a Sharapova to stop gunning because she's been doing it since she was whenever she started playing tennis. And that's her comfort zone. So for her, I don't necessarily think that that's a distraction technique for her opponent. That's just what she's always done. But there's definitely some people that the younger academies, like voluntaries, that are taught to do things like that to mess with your opponents.
And what does your dad do with his students? Does he, when they're young, does he just say,
he just says,
cut it, you guys?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like he's okay with some, like I said, some sort of exhaling, some sort of noise. But if he starts getting the feeling that that there's some sort of distraction for an opponent. And it's funny, I was talking with my coach about it like 10 minutes ago because the guy I was playing today started trying to like dance around in between my second serve, and I've never been one to do anything from bathroom breaks to running to trying to dance in somebody's service motion to try to mess up another player. Like anything I've ever done is always trying to control my side of the court, and so that's the way I was brought up. My dad never taught me to take bathroom breaks like you see a lot of coaches trying to tell people to do that to disrupt rhythm. And he always and I always have had the approach where, listen, my game's better than yours, and I don't need to do anything to disrupt yours because I'm going to do what I can do, and that's going to be enough. And so that's kind of the way I've always approached things.
So were you getting distracted today or not when he was dancing?
I have my mind takes in a very competitive way, like on court, and so when I see something like that, it's kind of like, okay, you're going to do that, you're not winning. Like that's
Game on.
That's kind of like my thought process on that. Like it's kind of like an extra motivation, So it doesn't necessarily piss me off, but it gives you like a spark that's kind of like a competitive edge almost. And so some guys like to look for that type of stuff, and I'm definitely someone that in tight spots that if I can find something where a guy I know is purposely trying to mess with me, it gives me a little spark to get going.
Anything else?
One last question about the match today. Your forehand was firing pretty well. Were you surprised at how well he was defending against your forehand?
Not really, just because like that guy, this is probably the biggest stage he's been on in his career, and so going into the match, that he's going to give you his best, and he's going to do everything he can. That guy's not going to give me 1 point in this match, and so especially after getting up early in the score count, once someone gets behind the 8 ball, their nerves normally free up and they can start swinging, and he did. And so I was kind of expecting that. Yeah, he had some shots that surprised me, but for the most part, I was pretty happy with the way things went.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.